What it is, how you fix it.
Okay, how many engineers does it take to work a project? Well, just tell you, just move the whole thing forward.
Journals do you shoot?
Oh, that's as good as it's going to get. I looked into the lights, and I feel like great thinkers.
Similar to all XX, whereas I just can't it's just the connection.
You know what? Deal with it. This is feature. That's just doesn't we got a packed house, so I think she was
Yeah, who needs a chair? Anybody need a chair?
Come on in.
I can't imagine. There you go. If it is, I mean, what are we doing? Like, right?
Oh, okay. All right, then. Okay, hi everybody. I'm Devin. This is my buddy Mike.
Oh, wait, I gotta take these off.
Could be. Yes.
I was looking at Domino's future. I just
Okay, I'm Devin Olson. This is Mike McGarel. This is Countdown to Domino 25. The whole point of this session is to kind of bring you guys up to speed as to what you need to know and what you need to do in order to get ready to deal with what's coming. I've been very, very blessed and very, very lucky that I've got to spend on a number of occasions some time in HCL with the development team there. Got to look at some of the stuff that's coming out, and there's some really cool stuff. There's stuff I can't tell you about, but there's a lot of stuff I can tell you about. And there's some other stuff that I'm going to hint at that they're going to officially announce tomorrow. So you're going to want to make sure you're at their opening session tomorrow. There's some really cool stuff. Mike and I used to work together at Zarnowski, and we actually did paired programming together. We've done a lot of sessions together. I love this guy. And when I had the opportunity to come here and do this, I was like, Mike, dude, brother, come speak with me. Mike, tell me about yourself.
Okay, I'm a full-time developer for a private company, Celina Insurance Group, out of Ohio. I've been doing a lot of X pages and Java and Domino for a very long time. So I am really looking forward to all the changes that are coming up, all the modernization that HCL is pushing and moving forward. I think it's a great new direction for Notes and Domino.
Cool, let's go. I'm not smart enough to have one of those fancy clicky things, so I have to walk over here and do this every time. It's going to be really irritating. I don't know.
Oh, the sponsors. We need to thank them. Definitely make sure when the
They pay a lot of
sponsors
money for you to
showcase.
be here,
Yeah.
so let's
So-
thank them.
so- The cost of this conference is so low because of the generous sponsors.
Yeah, it really is.
They're there. So at the sponsor showcase tonight, make sure you talk to them, find out about their solutions.
And Mike's right. If you had any idea as to how many dollars actually have to be spent to do this type of a thing versus what you have to spend, it's unbelievable. So, hey, you're over there.
I'm over there. What, spacebar?
Yeah, spacebar works. Oh, look, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want my contact info, point your camera at it. If you have a modern camera or a modern phone, it'll boom, it'll give you my contact info. And it tells you all about me, what I do. I work for red pill. I've been in this industry since R3. And Professor again, it's me.
Right.
I think that's you.
That's me. Oh, look, and I'm a private developer. Nobody should contact me. I am busy enough with my barely had time to come here. I mean, no. All right.
Mike, does that include your Chicago connections?
Pardon?
Does that include your Chicago connections?
No.
Okay.
That's fine.
We're still good? Okay.
Yeah, just drive on over it.
So for my contact, you to hang out and that kind of thing.
Yeah, right. By contact, you mean hanging out at a bar, right? Yeah. Okay, well then.
Mike, does that include me too?
Okay, this session is kind of fun and obnoxious because we're going to tell you our true feelings and we're going to expound upon stuff. And we're going to start with our top 10 things you need to do to prepare for Domino 2025. Now, understand, I'm a developer. So a lot of this is coming from a developer's point of view. However, there are some things that are from an admin point of view. But most of this focus is from application development. Because this is what I've been doing. This is how I put my kids through school. This is how I paid mortgage for 27 years. So I got retired. So, okay, let's go.
I got kids going to college.
Yeah.
I cannot retire. So that's why I'm especially looking forward to this. All right.
So cool.
Something to do. All right, here we go.
So, okay, number one, of the top 10 things that you need to do to prepare for modernization, and by modernization I mean Domino 2025, that's the focus here. To prepare for what is coming from HCL, you need to have a strategy. Do not just go, oh look, 10's out, I'm going to upgrade to 10. No, don't do that. Because we've been screaming and whining and bitching and moaning. Sorry. For, I mean, literally 10 years. When did 9 come out? Was it 10 years ago? 2008 when 9 came out? 10 years. We've been whining for an update. We're getting one. We're getting a really cool update. So don't just apply it. Be ready for it, because there's some really amazing stuff that's coming. So, next is, okay, you want me to press this?
Oh, no, I got it.
Okay, cool.
I can talk from here. Okay, when you're migrating, all right, it's very important not to try to migrate everything because it's just too much. There's too much new stuff going on. What you want are some successes when you're migrating, and you want to make sure you pick the right applications. Get the popular ones. Get the ones that have the most impact. Just like that umbrella over there. Make sure it's noticeable, and everybody says, "Oh, great." I mean, they won't know and probably won't care that you're updating, Domino, go from 9 to 10 or 8 to 10 or whatever you're moving from. But you want to make sure it's a noticeable impact to the users where they say, oh, great, updates to the application, and is with Domino, with the new Domino, with the capabilities in there, where things can come faster and kind of just do more features and faster, they will notice that. So that's a really big plus.
I've had, as a follow-up to Mike's point here, they've actually revamped the client. Not just the Domino server, but the client. They cleaned it up. They've made it better. I hinted at this earlier. I don't know about you guys. I'm a developer, so I don't use bookmarks. I think they're the work of the devil. They piss me off beyond belief. And they're not. I mean, yay! It starts out by default. We've gone back to the workspace. Why? Because it works. Jeez. So yay to them for listening.
And the world with the App Store followed Workspace, right?
Exactly. The whole world went, man, that's a really good UI. Let's do it. Well, let's follow that. Let's copy it. And I've been like,
there we go.
we're back.
All right.
What's that? Oh, this one's me. Identify the owners of your, not just your applications, but all of your business processes that are going to be impacted with Domino 2025. Find out who's still using stuff and put your phone on Do Not Disturb.
Always important. Put your phone on do not disturb.
I'm
We're
in a
gonna
session, leave me
anywhere.
alone. I hit the driving button, so they'll get the things I hit driving. Identify the subject matter experts, the people who know the databases and applications and suites that are out there. If you have stuff that's out there and you don't know who's using it, just turn it off. Just disable it. Remove connectivity to it. Set default ACL to no access. And if nobody screams, cool. If someone screams, they're your subject matter expert. It's really easy. It's not that difficult to figure this out. And these people will provide you with the documentation that you're going to need as you progress into Domino 2025, as you progress in the future. So,
Okay, so again, as part of this, find the ones that are most used, the ones people are screaming about. Find those, because those are the ones that will give you the biggest impact. Those are the ones when you start changing and that people like adding the new features, start giving people what they want, then they will be happier. And of course, if people are happier and less complaints, your bosses are happier. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
I love this graphic. Peter got me that graphic. He tries to show the old Lotus world, everything's a yellow pencil. Anyway,
So make sure you target those. Find that's definitely where you get to the popular ones. All right.
Who uses templates? Cool. That really makes me happy. Who uses templates with source control? Oh my God. I love all of you. You're amazing. Who can guarantee to me that their templates reflect what's in production? Really? You really can. Because as a consultant, now, I could guarantee that when I was working. Because our shit was down. But as a consultant, quite often when I go into a customer site and I take a look at the stuff and I can see, here's our templates. Here's our library, here's our stuff. And they've got accounts management 1, copy of accounts management copy of 2, accounts management template, accounts management template 2, accounts management template 3. And they all have the same template name. And some of them are on production servers, and some of them are on development servers, and some of them are on staging servers. Oh dear gosh. Where's the real code? What's true? What's not true? I run into that more times than I don't. And I'm willing to bet that a lot of you, if you really look at all your stuff, you'll find you run into that, except you.
Best practice standards.
There we go.
They're a great thing.
So, for those of you who can't guarantee 100% know that, here's what you do. Take all of your templates and throw them the hell out. Just get rid of them. And make a fresh cut for production. Lock that down. That's your template. It guarantees this is what's running in production. And you don't have any confusion. So I'm a big fan of that. And then once you've cut them, put them into source control. Does everybody use source control? Who does not use non-nodes source control? You don't use source control. Why? I don't want to call you embarrassed. I'm just upset. Really make sure you use a source control repository of any, I don't care which one it is. You can use a for sale one, you can use a private one, you can use a custom built one, you can use any standard version thing, any SVN thing, it doesn't matter. Just use it. I don't care which one. They're all good. Some of them have features that are better than others. Some of them have features that make them a little pain, but they're all better than not using source control. So please do that.
And as part of Domino 2025, it's all about modernization. And source control is, I mean, that's part of the modern world. A lot of Domino developers are not used to it because they're kind of single, a lot of them are single developers, or never learned it, or doesn't, and you don't really have an IT background. I mean, like, I don't have a computer background, but this is something that you need to do, and again, it helps you get in the modern world.
And even if you don't develop on a team, who's standalone developers? Raise your hands. So about a third. And the rest of you have teams of other developers you can work on. Cool. Source control is great for teams because, yay, we're not going to destroy each other's stuff. But it's really, really good when it's just you because it forces good habits. When you have to actually create a feature or do a checkout, depending upon what version you're in, to make a code change and then check that in or close the feature, whatever you want to call it, depending upon which version you're using. When you do that, it instills good coding habits, and it gives you the instinctive habit of coding one thing at a time. Because a really, really good way to guarantee that your application is going to blow up is when you start doing 10, 12, 13, whatever. Many things at the same time in the same code change. You're gonna lose track. You're gonna break stuff. You're going to introduce unplanned errors. But when you do one code thing at a time, you can't do that. That doesn't happen because you're not distracting your own thing. So, I'm sorry, I went long enough. But that's okay.
It's very important.
Okay.
Source control, it's very important going forward. All right, and this is kind of talked about this before. When you're doing any kind of migration, when you're upgrading, look for what will get the most impact and can be done fast. And that way, there's just more support to keep going. You know, I mean, I think in some because Domino has been so stagnant and people are moving away, it's good to give them a reason to stick around. So if you upgrade and say, hey, look what we can do now, and we can do it. Look how great it is. That'll help keep it in the organization. Okay? That's kind of the biggest message you could have. The biggest argument for migrating is look how useful Domino is, and it was always useful before, but now it's even better. There's these more features and no.
Yeah.
I think we're in the pet peeves area now.
Now I'm just complaining. You guys know this. You've been down this road. Oh my God, these are horrible. They kill me. Just delete them. Just delete them. Don't even worry about. I mean, you could. Your best practices would be, let's go find out where this view is referenced and figure it out. Blah blah. Just delete it. If something breaks, someone will complain, and you'll know. Oh, I gotta go put that view back. But when you see this kind of garbage, oh my God, it kills you. I can't say that. I can't tell. I've got a story that I can. Talk to me at the bar later. I have got a story for you, but I can't say it publicly because it's a bad thing. But it has to do with these kind of views. Get rid of them.
Right.
Go rip them out. And it's you don't even have to. I mean, you can go into design template every time and hunt them down manually, or you could, if you just put a little thought to it, you could write yourself a little tiny agent that would go look at the view design notes and maybe look for a copy of, and just immediately flag those and write them to, I don't know, a notes log. We're not doing anything fancy, and just tell you, hey, this view, this database has these 15 views that all have the word copy of it. Might want to take a look at that. It's not a hard script to write. You run it across your entire domain over a weekend. You come in the morning. Oh, I need to look at these 15 or 20 or 7 databases. But you don't have to kill yourself hunting them down. You just write code to do it for you.
Every view is a view index, and every view index is memory, and
Yeah.
just more to maintain that you don't need.
Yeah, if your view index size is 0, delete it. No one's using it.
Okay. All right. Speaking of web, Since you can, a lot of your Domino elements might already be web enabled. I mean, you can check it.
Gentlemen, come in. We have seats. Please come in, come in. We've got people
There's
that
seats
can't,
up-
we've got
up
standing
there.
room only. Come on in, sit down, please. We want more people in here, because it's always fun.
Right.
And it's kind of chilly, the air conditioning finally turned on.
Yeah,
so
I
need
do
some
want
more
my
space.
I'm chilly. Yeah, we need more people.
Okay. please
So
proceed.
again, as it's marked down here, there's some stuff that's available on the web. You can look in your design elements, and this is something to always look at. You know, and if you're not sure, because one thing you have to do as you're designing is make sure that you have some kind of standards as you're moving forward. You know, if anything that doesn't adhere to your standards, or if it doesn't adhere to it, you got to make sure. If you don't have any, you got to create some. Get some standards, some web standards out there. You know, pick a lot of time, pick JavaScript frameworks, and and like Bootstrap's very popular. But you want something, and this will help you find what's out there already and what you got. Because as you move stuff to the web, as companies, that's the thing, and has been. You need to kind of know what you have. And again, maybe some of this stuff is only is only for the web, and you're not needing it because you're getting new design elements and doing things differently. You can just get rid of them.
Throw 'em away.
Yeah, a lot of UI stuff you'll probably want to replace. And you need to know what's there so you can get rid of it.
I just realized what database this is from. This is my Spanky State of Air Quotes database.
Oh.
And it hasn't been touched in 10 years,
Yeah.
so. I didn't realize that.
This is a very good reference
Saw
that can help you find what's needed and what's not within your database. Well, and as part of that, some stuff might even be hidden. So as you're looking for things, you got to make sure that what's in there from your checkboxes. There's so many things within notes that, and if you haven't used them in a while, you might forget that they're there. So it's always good to check on that. And
Throw out your unused code. Now, we're developers, and we like writing code. We like writing beautiful script libraries. We like writing beautiful classes. And we like writing these wonderful, elegant things. And they're awesome, and they're gorgeous. They're our children. If you're not using it, throw it out.
but I might use it. I might need it.
You have it in source control management.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
so delete it. If you really need it, you can go back into SCM and go find it. But if you're not actively using a piece of code in an NSF, get it out of there, because all it does is confuse you, and it confuses other maintenance developers who come and work on this stuff. It's hard to figure stuff out. If I go in and I've got 19 script libraries and I don't know which is used and which is not, I've got to hunt through all of them. But if someone has taken the time to throw out the 16 of those that are not used because they're copy to copy or they're test versions or whatever, and I only have 3, I've eliminated points of confusion, and I've made my job easier, and I've made the job of the people who come behind me easier. Throw out the unused code.
Yeah. And you now, the people that come behind you might be used 6 months from now, and you won't remember what that is. I've certainly done that even 3 months ago. It's like, oh, now why was I using this, or why did I even write this? I wrote this for something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The case in point, Peter asked me a question about the database just a couple of weeks ago, and I think I worked on it like 3 months ago. I couldn't even remember where it was. Just lost. I had no idea. I'm looking at the code going, I don't know what I did.
And maybe the code you do keep, document. I don't know how many times but that goes without saying, doesn't it? We all know we're supposed to do that.
At least write what in the comments. I think I'm doing something here, or this is crap. Even that is good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Speaking of templates, there is a practice out there where you can inherit different design elements from different databases and different templates, and everything kind of coordinates together. Don't do that. That is very confusing. Again, you from the past will not remember why all these things were, and you won't remember why they're there, and you won't remember what everything touches, so you won't know if you can get rid of it or you need it. It's very, very confusing. What you want to do before you make any big changes, like Domino 2025, when that starts coming in, version 10, version 11, when that eventually shows up, you want to simplify things to make it easier so you don't have so much clutter in your brain. So, single template inheritance.
Now this is, during the history of Notes and Domino, and more importantly, decisions that were made, managerial product decisions that were made about things to include or add to the product. There are a number of wonderful blunders. Oh my God. Sorry. There are a number of exceptional decisions that in hindsight were really bad. They're features. They were things that they added to say, we're going to make the product more useful. And in hindsight, it was a really horrible decision. It was a really horrible thing to implement. This is one of them. This causes so much confusion trying to chase down where the design elements are coming from, and especially when you can, like, I can have one database that's a template that's inherited from 10 other freaking templates, and they're all inheriting. This is a horrible, horrible thing. Put all your design in one template. Leave it there. One. Well, one for that NSF. Oh, we're back to me and views.
Yeah. Rant number 2.
Rant number 2. Okay, the first rant was about copies of views. Okay? Because it's frustrating, copies and copies and copies. This rant is about views that are unused. So if I have a view in a database, it's taking up space as a design node. And it's taking up space in terms of me, the developer, or the media administrator looking at the design of the database, trying to figure out what's going on with that view. Okay? If you check on the no, I sometimes lose words. The view note. You can get a dollar collection field. Okay, so if you go and look at, like, you make a view that has your view notes in it, you know you can do that, right? It's cool, right? If you look at that view note, you'll have this field here, dollar collection. This field represents this value, the number of elements in the index. Okay.
In fact, that's where the view index is stored.
Right.
So if that field is not in that design node, there is no view index.
There's no index.
So when you delete a view index, you're essentially deleting that field from the design document.
Everybody hear that? It's a dollar collection field. If it's not there, the view's not touched. If it's there and there's a 0, well, the view has been re-indexed, but there's no documents in it. Delete it. You're not using it. All it's doing is confusing you as a developer and you as an admin. Get it out of there. Because again, as we talked before, we put everything in source control. If something horrible goes wrong with Grace, we can go back and get it. That's my second rant.
Master data management.
Yes.
All right. What this is saying is, kind of fancily, that's not a word, single source of data. Make sure you have one source for all your customer data. Make sure all your your addresses and all that. You don't have it scattered in 3 different databases, or you have one place and it's not copied anywhere else. And make sure all your databases go to that. And so that is, as you're changing things, if you need to change that, it's very important. That way you don't have to worry that something's out of date or you're providing the wrong information somewhere. So make sure you have a single source of all your data. Good time to review as you're migrating, as you're updating, good time to review all your policies on that. Make sure your setup is that way.
Does everybody understand exactly what he's trying to say there? Because this is really important. You need one authoritative record to for each piece of data, not two. Because when you have two, you never know which one's correct. Always only have one, period.
All changes go to one.
Yes, sir.
I didn't understand your comment about policy.
Well, you know, just your architecture, as you're setting these up, make sure everybody knows where it is and where they're supposed to put the changes, you know, where they're supposed to reference. That's kind of, you know, like it's written down so that people know, you know, it's there. Don't create other databases somewhere. Don't have the data in different servers where it might be referenced. You know, just make sure you're always grabbing the data.
It's not uncommon for an organization to have like 6 or 7 databases that got each of your divisions or territories with the code and the name. So you need to designate one, but it's going to take you maybe years to get rid of all the others. So you need to have a policy that says the official one is going to be from here on this database. So if anyone's writing a new app, they write against that one and not create a migration issue by going back to an older one.
It helps if things are written down. I guess, you know, like, you know, just kind of, you know, and it's from top down. CIO says this is the way we're going to do it, and that's the way it is.
If you're clustering together databases, doesn't matter which one.
Technically, from an architectural point of view, no, because it's in a cluster. And in a cluster, you have your primary and your secondary failover. But cluster replication is like that. Now, if you have them in a cluster and you do a lookup to this one in some databases and a lookup to that one in other databases, that's a failure of policy. Pick one, and then if failover occurs, you fail over. Okay, but don't pick multiple sources, especially on stuff going forward. So part of the point here is this is for going forward. You don't have to go through and wipe out and change all the stuff you have. But when Mike talks about policy, you have to specify from, you know, here's this line, no further. From this point, sorry, channeling stuff again. From this point forward, all lookups to customer accounts will go to that data source, whatever that data source happens to be. If other stuff has previously gone to other things, you don't have to go change those yet. But all future stuff goes to that. We set that as a policy, and then that allows you to go forward over time.
And this kind of goes back to the first side. Have it, the first slide. Have a strategy.
Have a strategy.
Okay.
Okay. Prepare for microservices. This is especially important with what's coming in Domino. You need to prepare for microservices. Oh my gosh, what's a microservice? All a microservice is a piece of code runs on the server. It does something for you. Or runs on the client. It does something for you. Basically, this means get your code that does stuff out of the buttons, out of the form actions, out of, exactly, run the libraries. Put the code someplace else, get it out of those areas, so that you can reference them and run them later. Hint, if you're running Java code in the client, you might want to consider an alternative going forward. That doesn't mean I don't like Java. I freaking love it. But the client, you might want to consider going forward. That was the end of that.
Is that more model view controller than Microsoft?
Oh, yeah, back end. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, wait, back this slide.
Oh, wait, slide. All right, wait. I gotta go back here.
Yeah, I think so.
There we go. Yeah.
Back in the background.
Get your
Alright.
big backside out of there.
There we go.
The front end.
Tough back end.
Okay. Let's go on. It's getting hot. It's 20 to
All right.
whatever. Oh, you're cold? I'm hot.
Oh, I'm hot.
She's freezing.
Oh, I'm cold.
Do you want to?
I
All right.
also-
I'll sit there. Come up here.
All right. cloud has its advantages, but there's a focus on from HCL on premises first. So just know that. Yes, I think that's wonderful. I huge proponent of on premises first. So just want to know future. That's where they're going. On premises first, then the cloud. That's their kind of reversal of the way it was before.
Kind of reverse the way IBM's pushing, you know,
Right.
let's be honest, we all know the truth. There's no cloud. Your stuff is just on someone else's computer that you're paying them to do. There's no magic. So, all right.
Isn't cloud kind of misused? That doesn't mean the internet. Cloud means self-provisioning. So if I want a Domino server, it's all through code and clicking checkboxes in the website, and it stands up a server for me, and I have connected it to source control. Isn't that more cloud heavy services and self-provisioning versus hosting?
That would be SaaS. That would be software as a service stuff and setting up your server as a service. What we're talking about the cloud is basically what IBM's been pushing, and that's hosting your stuff on their servers. And you know what? I'm going to take 30 seconds and go on a rant.
Okay.
I like to rant. I hate the cloud. I hate the cloud with an absolute passion. And you know why? Because I come from a security background. Okay, I understand security, and I understand certain things like hackers don't go after non-value or low-value targets. If your stuff is on your servers and you've taken proper security precautions and locked your stuff up, you're a low-value target. You're high risk, low value, because it takes a lot to get into your stuff because your stuff is secure and it's only your data. When you move your stuff to the cloud, that data center has your stuff and lots of everybody else's stuff. That's a big frickin' honeypot. It's really valuable. And generally, their security is not as good as yours. They say it is, but history proves they're wrong. So when you have all your stuff in this magical cloud, you're more likely, this is my opinion, you're more likely to suffer data loss or break-ins. The cloud is a lie and it's wrong. Keep your stuff on your own iron, ensure that your security is in place, do it right, do it safe, and take care of your stuff. Okay. Sorry.
No, but you know what? You gotta say it.
I feel much better. I feel much better.
Oh,
Oh my God!
wow. Speaking of anger.
Do not, yeah, this is my soapbox. Do not ever use hidden design. This is another one of those things that IBM, Lotus did it.
Lotus
It was even before IBM, it was Lotus put this ability, and they put in the ability to hide the design of a database. When you're building it, locking it up, and setting it, and now I can hide the design, and now, oh, I've lost the template. Okay, but the design's hidden, that's okay, cool, because we're nice and safe and secure. And now some other future developer has to come along and fix this. But they can't.
Thank you. Thank you.
And they can't.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God. And guess what? I have friends who work for companies who sell special awesome tools that help me unlock hidden design. But when the design is hidden properly, it's encrypted. Which means their tools, their awesome tools, unlock it and let me see it. All I get to see is an encrypted set of crap. Don't ever do this. Ever.
And so,
Oh my God, I hate that.
sorry. So,
That was
if it's
Don't sugarcoat it.
if you have it, undo it.
Undo it.
Undo it.
Undo it
Undo
immediately.
Okay. Devin will take his motorcycle and start visiting people.
I will show up.
All right, the ones, all right, applications that you don't want, that you don't need, bye-bye. Just put, off to the sunset they go, put them somewhere else, archive them, in case somebody starts squawking and says, hey, we do need this, but just move them away again, that way you don't have to worry about it. You know, it's less to worry about, and it keeps migration simple. And that's kind of what you want to do.
I think,
Oh, yeah.
Tim Davis has a hat like that. So every time I see this, I think of Tim. All right. Random, just bad stuff. But in my mind, is a fun place. That's a good one. Get an iPad. If you don't have an iPad version 11.4 iOS or above, go buy one. Trust me, do this. You need it. I have to go spend some time at the Apple Store after this session or after this conference because I didn't have time last week to go get my iPad. And my old iPad is 10 point something. Go get an iPad. Period. You have to do this.
Are you saying that there might be a reason that I might want an iPad?
There's stuff coming out. Maybe.
Is there? I mean, like I might have more use for it in the future?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's you know, more
No.
use than you know.
Like business applications?
Possibly,
maybe?
possibly,
Okay.
or
Alright.
you know, you can use. There's an app that closes your garage door.
Oh, okay. All right. I need it for that.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Okay.
Go buy an iPad.
You really need one for your garage door.
I do need one, but that's
Yeah.
right. Broken. Yesterday. All right.
Okay, that was our top 10 things.
There's that time. Yeah, we got a little excited. We kind of lost count. Sorry.
Okay, so, all right. Now these are our top 10 things to learn for Domino 2025. I'm going to try and go a little faster. I just realized we've gone a bit
I
long.
just popped up the time.
All right, so our top 10 things to learn for Domino 2025. They are, learn these things.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you start.
Oh, dang it, Jason, this is so important. But anyway, if you don't know this, you need to learn it. This is modern as can be. Everybody is using JSON for data, for transfer, for moving, for displaying. This is it. And this is a sample. It's like name value pairs. Exactly what we're used to in the Notes Domino world. If you're not used to it, so you need it. JavaScript object notation. It's built into all browsers. You can practice that as right away. So
And the next version of Domino has a LotusScript class to handle JSON directly.
So, can you guys give me, is that not a freaking awesome slide? Seriously, that's a fantastic slide. That is gorgeous. Well, and part, yeah, because you played.
But D&D last night.
yeah, right. Well, nobody was cheating.
Oh, yeah, no. All right, let's go on. What's next? Docker. Who knows Docker? Slow enough. And nobody else.
Well, excellent, because there's sessions later.
There's sessions.
There's sessions this, yeah.
Pretty sure there's one tomorrow morning on Docker.
All right.
So,
So
Learn
that's
Docker.
wonderful. You are in the right place then to learn some Docker.
there you go.
All right. Okay. Oh, JavaScript frameworks. Wow. Wow. Well, isn't there a psychological thing where if there's too many choices, you can't pick one? All right. Unfortunately, that's JavaScript nowadays.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, there's so many different libraries out there. If your company hasn't decided on anything, and if you're looking at something, don't take too long to pick one. Pick one, because you can move things around pretty easily, kind of take them out and replace them. But you need to pick one and start learning how to use the JavaScript framework. You'll have a lot of the same concepts. Different ones do different things. They have different strengths and weaknesses. But you need to get going and start learning it if you're not familiar with it. And if you really, really want to pick one that HCL is going, Node.js. And again, many, many sessions on Node.js.
Yes.
So, which is a JavaScript server side. I mean, like, so
Yeah, it's a
front
proper
end, so it's great.
server-side framework.
Yep.
Very cool stuff.
All right.
Traveler. Yeah, I know. There's some admins in the room. If you're not using Traveler, you might seriously want to consider implementing it. There is some very cool stuff coming with Traveler. They have made some significant enhancements in addition to the core product. They're pushing it again as a real thing without having to go to connections, craziness. No, it's Traveler. It's the thing. If you haven't done it, you might want to get into it. It's worth learning, worth using.
Okay. Again, this is about security. This is about signing in from anywhere and from different locations, and your credentials following you around. So again, we don't have time to talk about that. It's a very, very important part of modern technology and something that Domino 2025 will be using.
I'm sorry, I kind of ran this long earlier.
That's okay.
Brush up on your Lotus script. Seriously. Yeah, you remember this? Supports VBS, VBA, and Delphi. Man, that's cool stuff. Seriously, you really want to brush up on your Lotus script because they have made investments in Lotus script. And I remember that slide. And more. These are 3 of the things in Lotus script that are coming out as part of the core language. We have a new HTTP request class, which allows us to access REST services directly from Lotus script. I don't have to do any LS2J crap. Not that I mind it so much, but it's a pain. I don't have to do that. I don't have to slide out and slide back in. I don't have to do the agent handoff trick. I don't have to do any of that. My code, Lotus script running, I can go hit a REST service, get it, pull my stuff back. Done. Yes, cool. There's baked-in JSON processing with the new JSON parser class. There are a number of JSON parsing Lotus script libraries that are out there that are very good. There's even one on OpenNTF that I use. I didn't write it, someone else wrote it. He's not in this room, I wish he was. But I didn't write it, but I use it. But guess what? That means I have to add libraries to my NSF to do my JSON parsing. It's really baked into the language. That's crazy awesome. And this is cool. Lotus script is going to have device-aware capabilities, which means that it can communicate with the underlying OS, and if that OS has device-aware capabilities, like a GPS, or I don't know, a phone, or perhaps a camera, or a compass, it can pass that information back to Lotus script, and you can access it and use it. Holy great. That is crazy cool. Remember what I said about the iPad? Your Lotus script will run. Oh, wait, am I allowed to let that out? Can I say that? No. I can't say that. Go to HCL's opening session tomorrow.
I heard the baked-in JSON is killer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. With Node.js and Docker, the Domino 25 is going to focus on modern development tools. So, scripting things like Visual Studio, Visual Code, you'll be able to use something besides Domino Designer to do development.
It's free.
And it's free. Visual Code is free. You can start now.
Oh. This is again another freebie for the admins. Same time. Well, why should I learn same time? That's this thing that's garbage and it's dying. It's been replaced by all these other modern things. This is not under NDA. I have seen this with my own eyes. Same time has been significantly revamped and invested in. Basically the same time team, the same team who has worked for IBM forever, they now work for HCL. And for all these years they've been getting no. Yes, sir.
Does it still take 8 servers to run the whole thing?
No. Well, kind of. I'll give you details on that. All the stuff that they've been saying, we want to. They've gotten yeses on now. And the things that they've said we want to get rid of, they've gotten not yet, but soon. What that means is, and so, what does he mean by that? The client for same time, whether it's the integrated notes client, whether it's the standalone client, or whether it's the device client, they all now have exactly the same user experience. They're identical. You can't tell them apart. They all have persistence. Configurable. You can configure your persistence up to how much drive space you have on your server. Yay. They all have immediate presence awareness. They're just amazing. They really have done a huge number on this. And their stated goal is to get rid of the requirement for connections around the same time. They want to bring it back to just a pure Domino app. That's not going to happen in 10, but with luck it'll happen in 11. Go back to same time. It's awesome.
Oh, Santos. Now, I'm a developer, but even I know this is a big deal to use this operating system. I personally, anything that gets you off of Windows is great. So,
Support it.
supported now by HCL. They announced that already. So that's not an NDA.
Officially supported. All right, now getting down to the wire.
Yep. Yeah.
These are the top 10 things
Not.
to not do before learning before going to Domino 24.
Yeah. Next page.
Do not start learning next pages.
Which is painful for us to say, honestly.
I spent 6 years learning next pages. I love next pages. Hell, learningxpages.com is me.
But the future is not in next pages. It is not. It is in, again, they're moving to modern technologies, server-side JavaScript, web-focused, Xpages is not, they're not focusing at all on Xpages right now.
That doesn't mean your existing Xpages apps are going to break. That doesn't mean your existing investment in Xpages is going to break.
Right.
The key words there are existing.
Right.
Do not start learning Xpages.
Correct.
If you already have an investment, fine.
Right.
Keep doing it. But don't go start. Don't do new stuff. And
Okay.
that's the countdown has started. End slide. I think we have some related sessions.
We have some related sessions. Let's go. We got some.
Oh!
Wait a minute. Jason. No. Another Jason. A different Jason.
Yeah, that's the other Jason. I should use that Jason. That would be awesome. I just like that picture. I just like that picture. It just makes me happy.
Collaboration should be fun. Domino's fun. Domino's fun. It's going to continue to be fun for.
It is.
Okay.
These are.
There's a session right after this one at 2 o'clock. What is Node.js? Right
Next door.
Next door.
next door. There we go.
And that's going to be Tim Davis. I'm going to be in that session.
Right.
No, I'm not. Oh, are you kidding me?
You and I are walking down 2 doors.
All right. Sorry.
Again, right after here, if you want to know about Node, there's a session right on Node. More stuff? Yeah, check your schedule.
These are the red pill sessions throughout the rest of the week. And then if you want these slides, oh yeah, this is our red pill podcast.
Alright, and?
There you go. If you want the slides, they're not uploaded yet,
Alright, they're not there yet.
but that'll get them to you. Thank you all for your job.
Thanks very much.
Sorry, I thought we said shoulder to shoulder.